Welcome to International Securities Exchange's podcast series. Facilitated by renowned educators, ISE podcasts are intended to teach beginning as well as seasoned investors the ins and outs of trading. To find an updated list of podcasts, please visit www.ise.com/podcast.
For example, a longer-term bearish trend, and you see a wedge formation of a inclining wedge take place, you may see your RSI sort of trend up towards that 50% and then reject off of that, still lining up for a great opportunity to the downside.
Thanks. Steve wants to know, he says, I assume the basic time frame for analysis is daily. I think that's, you alluded to that, and that makes sense to me too,
Yep.
Looking at ICF options. You can't trade I shouldn't say you can't. It's a lot more challenging to trade the ICFX options on a day-to-day basis or intraday. That's really challenging, but the daily seems to make sense. In fact, Jason showed us the charts there. So here he says, but at what point does Jason move to a more detailed time frame, and which ones does he use? I guess, I don't know if he's talking about software packages and why. Just if you can expand on that.
Well, as far as an additional time frame, in the sense that looking at a shorter time frame, if prices are trending or providing enough information on a daily chart, then I'll focus on the daily chart because I'm looking at a longer term sort of opportunity. But then within what I've seen on that daily chart, if we're looking for a little bit more of a heads up with respect to a possible entry point, as Steve mentioned, it's kind of difficult to trade the currency pairs specifically on a shorter time frame, but we can maybe go in on the spot market and look for a more effective entry. But the one thing that I always, when we're educating people with respect to these FX options market, the FX options market, is that it's great for somebody who has a longer term perspective on their currencies. If you're interested in short-term directional moves, getting in and out very quickly on a day-to-day basis, then maybe the spot market type of trading is for you. But if you have a directional bias that you think is going to take place over the course of a couple of weeks or a month, well, then you really want to see what the daily charts are suggesting. The only time that I would look at getting in a little more closely is on those currency pairs such as the AUX, that the U.S. versus the Aussie dollar, that has just essentially been in a straight line. And a lot of times the problem with that, of course, is that there's overnight trading there, and so you sort of want to see what's happened overnight, or what is happening overnight to sort of help make your decision. But guys, realistically, get used to sort of analyzing these charts on a day-to-day basis, and then you can always start to fine-tune your approach as you become more comfortable with with the technicals and with using these FX options in your portfolio.
Got another question. Thanks, Jason. From Roberto. He wants to know, where can he trade these?
Well, you know what? I know, Steve, you can answer this, but just any options-enabled brokerage account, Options Express, fantastic. You've got access to a great charting software there. Any of your standard direct access trading accounts, or any account that you've essentially access to the options market, you can trade these. And Steve, I don't know if you can elaborate on that any at all.
Yeah, so people like Interactive Brokers,
Yep.
right, and
Yep.
TradeStation, E-Trade. I mean, those would be just a couple names, and it's just about anybody, but I think we just mentioned four, that those platforms you could definitely trade this product. Anyway, as Jason said, any place that you can trade an equity option, you can trade the FX option. Here's a question from Leonard. He wants to know, do you place daily or weekly pivots on charts to determine your price targets? That's a great question. How do you come up with price targets?
Well, you know what? I mean, I look at it on a day-to-day basis, and when my daily information is is not sort of enough. I'll look at the bigger picture. Now, generally, if I condense a daily chart, to view a longer time frame, just in those, you can see where the price action has traded, representing significant resistance levels or significant support levels. It makes it easier, of course, as I showed with the YUK, to throw it on a weekly. But when we do the FX options outlook, I always start our presentation with a look at the weekly U.S. dollar index, and so we've been looking at that U.S. dollar index, which, for those of you that don't know, is just a way of looking at the U.S. dollar against a basket of currencies. It sort of helps you determine the overall directional bias. So I'm looking at that on a bigger time frame, and then we're going into our daily price charts. And the key is, if you don't see any sort of immediate support and resistance levels, then you have to go back, because previous support and resistance levels over the bigger picture always come into play as we move forward in the price action.
Thank you. One more question, a couple of points. First of all, I just want to remind everyone, please join Jason each and every week at the ICFX Weekly Outlook. You can get that there's a couple ways. You can go to www.isc.com/FX, and you can sign up for everything, the Weekly Outlook, the podcast, and also the archive. So that's really, once you do it, you're good to go, and you'll be able to receive each and every week. So I urge you to do that, as I look forward to it each and every Monday, as Jason does it over the weekend. Also, another point, Sunday nights, we're going to start a new program, new webinars on Sunday night, because we've been getting a lot of requests. People are so interested in the FX options and want us to bring on more guests. Well, how can we do it if we only have it one day a week? So we're adding another day. It's going to be Sunday, probably, we haven't decided yet, but maybe 7:30 Eastern time here. And so if that's not convenient, you could always grab it anytime you like via the podcast. Jace, one other question. What about candlesticks? Do you look at candlesticks? Do you think they're valuable?
I'm not one of those traders that subscribes to the the whole candlestick thing, in the sense that I know all of the all of the names and all of the sort of tricky, three soldiers marching, shooting star, that sort of thing. I really am just looking at them just for the clarity of price action, and I find candlesticks just a lot more visually appealing when you're looking at price charts all day, and I just think that it's just it helps you. I think I acknowledged in one of the charts there that just we had a bearish looking candle, and you can really name any of these sort of combinations what you want, but you're just looking at the price action on them.
Also, please go to optionsource.net, so you can actually email Jason at jason@optionsource.net, and if you have any questions, or he gives classes. They have online classes, don't you, Jace?
Yeah, absolutely. Fully accessible education. We actually pride ourselves on providing up-to-date, actionable reference material on a weekly basis. We run about 20 webinars a week, and some with the ISC, some on our own, covering a range of topics. So by all means, take advantage of the free trial. I also wanted to just, while I have 2 seconds here, Steve is actually coming up to join us here on Thursday in the big city of Toronto, Ontario. So those of you that are actually located in the Greater Toronto area or within driving distance, we've got a great seminar planned on Thursday. That's this Thursday. If you haven't already received the invitation, we'd love to have you out. We're really, really excited to have Steve join us. I know Steve and his colleagues have already sent out an invitation. We've done the same. You can also email me at jason@optionsource.net, and we'd love to have you out. So that's all I have to say about that.
But Jace, I can't wait to see you on Thursday. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of the International Securities Exchange. This is Steve Meisinger saying good night, and thanks again, Jason. Can't wait to see you again. Jason Ayres, remember, optionsource.net. Please go and check it out, and of course, continue to come to Jason's weekly the ICFX Options Weekly Outlook. Thanks so much, Jason.
Yep. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great evening. Thanks for attending, and we'll see you next.
To find more podcasts on options, stocks, alternative markets, and market data, please visit www.isc.com/podcasts.